All right, all right.
Hello.
Hey, everybody.
How's it going? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Cocktails and Conversation with Kaufherr Center. I'm Jess Jones. I'm your Kaufherr Center director. I'm here with Charles Gardner. And with us tonight is also AJ Links and PJ Fishwick.
Hello.
What's up?
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
And hey, everybody else who is joining us. I see Deanna Reed Foster is saying, hey, guys. So, hey, everybody out there who is with us right now and will be with us after a live taping. So, raise a glass. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Cocktails and conversation.
Thanks for having us.
Okay, so first off, let's establish what everyone's having tonight. I want to know, I saw PJ doing some mixing, but let's explain what's in your cup because I want to know what you're drinking.
We made some Negronis, which is our kind of summer go-to.
And they're pretty.
What's in it? Tell us what's in a Negroni.
Gin, Campari, and vermouth, equal parts.
And then I noticed a little orange rind. You got fancy with it.
Yeah, some orange.
You were showing off.
AJ got these very nice glasses for us today, actually.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
So where are we breaking in your glasses right now?
You
Yeah,
are.
absolutely.
Hey,
This
cheers to
this is
that.
ceremonious. Yes. Charles, what you got in your cup?
So this is, I love cognac. Yeah. I just love cognac, y'all. And so there's this lovely C&C cognac. My wife's name, for everybody who might not know, is Carmen. So anytime I can get anything that's like C&C, I'm like, cool, yep, I'll do it. And then also, it's like cheaper than Hennessy and like Martell, which is good. So that's always a plus. And I can only find it at my local grocery store, my local liquor store. So like support local business. But anyway, long plug for cognac. So some cognac, some oranges, like squeezed the orange juice, and then a little bit of vanilla sugar. You all ever use this? I got it for like barbecuing, but I was like, I'm gonna use it in drinks.
Where is it? Is that Spice? What is it? Spice? What is that?
This is
place?
from the Spice House.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I recognize the bottle.
Yeah. Just vanilla sugar. It just turns it up. It's just like a little bit of sweetness, but it's also like this like vanilla note that makes it feel a little warm and just nice, you know. Makes you feel upper class.
You could probably incorporate vanilla sugar into a lot of drinks, I bet.
I think so. Yeah, it's almost like a dessert.
Yeah,
what about you, Jess? What are you drinking?
Okay, so in my little fancy glass, I got ginger beer margarita. So ginger beer, lime, and tequila. If I were really doing it, if I had all of my wherewithal to have all the appropriate ingredients, I would have rimmed the glass with coarse salt. So as we keep doing these, I keep learning what I need to add to my cocktail accoutrement. But I did step it up since last week because I was coming down on myself publicly for only having cider. It was an elderflower cider, but it was still just cider, so there's no mixing involved, which feels like phoning it in for week one. So this is actually stepping up my game, I promise. So cheers to trying hard. How about that?
Yeah.
There you go.
So how have you all been? Yeah, Jess was about to say the same thing. How have you all been? We're in whatever week this is. How's life?
It is.
Yeah.
It's good. I'll let you start. How are you doing?
Good. I don't know. I'm still working. Weird hours, I guess. I don't know. Kind of the same on and off. It's weird. It's like we'll get some kind of, I feel like everyone's trying to figure out how to continue to work in this environment. So I'll get a strange project in every few days that no one's ever done before and try to have to figure out a solution for it, and then it'll go away. So yeah, that's a lot of what we've been doing. But I don't know, keeping busy and cooking a lot.
Yes, which has been fabulous for me. So I've just been really eating, and then doing a lot of these. Although I love how casual and like fun this is. I've been doing a lot of like online teaching and workshops and Q&As and things. It's also sort of like, as we all know, like graduation season. So this is usually the time for meetings, meeting like some graduating classes in the Chicago market. So like, trying to engage with those classes and that kind of stuff during their showcase season.
I was going to actually say, like, what does showcase season look like when there aren't like showcases this spring? Like, have you gotten any sort of other version of that?
Yeah, it's all taped. It's all like filmed, which is great. I mean, in some ways, if we're all going to try to stay positive, everyone's having to learn how to self-tape now. So, everyone's learning a new skill. So a lot of it's electronic, which some of the showcases were starting to go that way ahead of time, though it was more of like an accompaniment to like a live theater thing. So, it's hard, but it's been fun, to watch tapes and do that. But generally, I've just been watching a lot of The Real Housewives of New York, if I'm being honest.
I mean,
now,
I feel like this is the time where people can absolutely indulge in that show that they wouldn't absolutely indulge in before, because they didn't, like, if you have time to stream a thing, you're going to stream the shows that you're like supposed to catch up on, and now you have time to like do the other ones too.
Correct. Well, and here's the thing, like Mickey's been on me about watching that show forever, so I kind of felt like, okay, I have the time. I'll do one episode, and then I got sucked in. You've been doing well, though. I feel like you're watching good TV. I'm the one who's watching all the bad TV for the two of us.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there are shows that I want to be watching that are like heavy that I just don't have the mental to slog through right now.
Like what?
Like I feel like Dark has been on my queue forever, but it's literally
the German one?
too dark to want to watch right now. So I just watched Star Trek Next Generation on repeat and Frasier reruns pretty much all the time.
See, Frasier, that's the kind of thing, I think you bring that show back in because it always makes you feel good. Like, I think that's absolutely the right kind of show to, like, bring back into queue, where you watch that show, you're like, oh yeah, I remember loving this show. Like, I remember this in syndication. Like,
and like the physical comedy of it, it's like light and it's bright and not, I watch a lot of murder, so it breaks up the murder.
So it's a counterbalance.
Yeah, for sure.
A little bit of lightness. Yeah. I'm stuck on old reruns of Martin. So that's been filling a lot of my time. And then when I'm not doing that, we're like, we just got hooked on this new show, Hollywood, on Netflix.
You're enjoying that show?
You know, we haven't gone all the way. We're just like a couple of episodes in.
Okay.
I like the fast pacedness of it, and I like how it's like put together. It has some pretty good cinematography too.
Love it. Great. No,
yeah.
I haven't much about it. I've just seen the trailer, and I have like a family member that's been watching it. But I that's good to know that you're enjoying it. What are you watching Martin on? Is it on? How do you watch it? Just
old clips. Trying to like search down and see what I can find on YouTube. And a lot of it is actually not like watching just random reruns. It's like me very specific moments and just hitting replay and just laughing my ass off. Yeah.
Okay.
The favorite one. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying my television admission is similar to your Real Housewives. Is I came in late and I don't know if anyone else watched it. Was Love Is Blind? Is it Love Is Blind?
Oh.
The reality Netflix, like I fall in love with you in a black box kind of.
I made PJ watch it with me.
Yeah.
So I feel like you guys are watching actual television, and that's the only thing I finished since quarantine started.
It's great.
We finished Fleabag. We did Fleabag. We finished season 2 of Fleabag, which took us a while to get around to the second season.
Yeah, embarrassingly, we had already, but we did. Yeah, so we finished Fleabag. We saw The Death of Stalin on Netflix, which was great. I from a casting point of view, I really enjoyed it. I revisited some Oh Brother Where Art Thou. We've been doing some Fargo, some Kitchen Nightmares.
I had a friend who he's wanted to do this for a long time, but he's wanted to do like a book club, but for movies. And so quarantine, we've decided to like do that via Zoom. So
it's very official. You guys have a real like. It's
most Wednesdays, and he like moderates it. It's a bunch of different like indie filmmakers and cinematographers and stuff like that who have kind of he like moderates it. We do like 2 minutes of what was everyone's takeaway from the movie, and then he does discussion topics. So it's even like if somebody had to get an Oscar, who gets the Oscar? If somebody had to get a Razzie, who gets the Razzie? And it's a lot of fun. We do it for like 2 hours on Wednesdays.
What were you did? Once Upon a Time in the West.
Yeah, that was one movie we did. The first week there was a rule that it had to be on Netflix or streaming on Amazon Prime, and a movie that nobody had seen. So then you had like 12 people with film degrees trying to find a movie that was streaming on Netflix that nobody had seen. And so we ended up on some indie that was shot in St. Louis that we all watched. And then the week after that, we ended up just going with classic films nobody had seen recently. Or like any movie that nobody had seen in the last like year or so. But it's a lot of fun.
So what film has surprised you in the course of that experiment?
Well, we only did 3 so far. Once Upon a Time in the West, I think, was the one that surprised me the most. And I don't know if it's because it's quarantine, but the movie's like 3 hours, and I feel like the script is probably only 8 pages of dialogue. And I was like, the pacing on it was totally fine. I was like sitting there watching these like silent cowboys wandering around on this super wide screen for like 2 hours, totally enthralled by it. Which I feel like maybe outside of quarantine, I would have been a little more distracted by my phone or something. But,
right.
Yeah.
It's probably easy to tune out during those sequences.
Yeah.
Because there's not compelling dialogue that keeps pulling you back in.
That's wild. Do you find that like since quarantine, like you've been itching for distractions, or do you feel like now that like we've settled in a little bit, you're just like, oh, we got time, we can just like sit back and enjoy a 3-hour film and not really have that like pull that we normally have when everything is up and moving?
I mean, I'm kind of a serial hobbyist, so like I've got seeds started and plants outside. I've got a sourdough starter going. Like I've gone full like homesteading around the house. I've been doing a lot of cooking that's like really long, involved recipes where it's like, oh, I'll start this on Tuesday and we'll do it on Friday.
And on the, this is why we're meant for each other. I'm doing nothing.
You're doing a civil service, which is broadcasting to us all the food he's making, and then like making everyone else wish that they had a partner that cooked that way.
Correct. Yeah, I just want to have an explanation for my 15-pound weight gain when we get out of this so that everyone knows why I look that way. No, but I would say I do think that it's interesting, Charles. I feel like my attention span vacillates every day. Like there are days, there's like a week where I had like really good stamina for like, okay, like I haven't seen this movie, it's long and it's like an art film, but you know what? I'm going to watch it. Like, and I did all those things. And then I have like 3 days where I'm like, I don't know how it's already 3 p.m. I got up at 7. Like, it's not like I slept really late. Like, but somehow it's 3 o'clock. I haven't done anything. I'm going to do some yoga and take a shower, and that's going to be the day. Like, so I feel like it's been variant for me. Mickey has been organizing a couple of like readings of, plays or just with like friends and stuff, and that's been really fun and has been a nice creative outlet. But I've been saying it on all these calls, like maybe it's just me trying to give myself permission to not do anything. I don't know, but like, it's not the time to like learn 4 languages and learn how to like play the flute and the bassoon. Like, it's okay. I think we're all, if you're not writing your best screenplay right now, I think it's okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving myself permission to not be,
No, I think you're hitting on something interesting, because I feel like, I've cycled into this conversation a couple of times in the last week where, I think we're at the stage where people are finding out that quarantine is kind of a choose your own adventure book a little bit, where there's like the thing of like, oh my gosh, like I am really enjoying the fact that never before have I felt confident in creating a sourdough starter. And now I have the time to actually like invest in that. Like, like PJ, you know what I mean? Like I keep watching people with their sourdough starters. And I'm like, the idea of growing something and naming it and then making bread from it terrifies me. But like, other people are like adopting dogs, you know what I mean? Like, and having like that unlimited bandwidth to be home and like rear a puppy, you know what I mean? And then other people are like, oh my gosh, I need to let myself off the hook, and like not do any of the things.
You have 2 children and Charles has brand new puppies. Like, I think you're both doing great.
But I mean, the puppies, like that's kind of that serendipity thing, right? Because that was a process started long before any of this, and it just happened to coincide. Like, I think we've touched on that a little bit, but I know, Charles, you've said that just kind of, felt like an appropriate card that was dealt for you,
Yeah. I mean, I think it just lined up, and that's the way that I'm taking this whole thing. I mean, of course, like it's a lot. We're learning a lot about our society. We're learning a lot about our government. We're learning a lot about, what a lot of us already know, just like imbalances in society resources and stuff like that. But I think we're also learning, at least I'm learning, just to like sit back and chill and let things unfold, like you were just saying, Jess, what is the likelihood of time being carved out? Because puppies, once they're born, they're basically with you for 8 weeks, right? And so what's the likelihood of time just being carved out where it's just like, nope, stay at home, Charles. Like, you can't go anywhere. You got to be with these puppies, and you got to like let them bite at your ankles and, do puppy things. So it's just really cool the way it all lined up.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I want to know about this sourdough starter. I don't know about this. What is this?
Well, mine's failing terribly, so I have a lot of questions to talk about it.
Is that a matter of feeding it? Like, let me stop there and ask: is failure or success based on the growth of it? Like, what is the definition of a successful sourdough starter?
Well, if anyone wants to know, sourdough starter is basically, the starter is and I'm totally speaking as an amateur, it's a replacement for industrial yeast, or like a yeast packet. So what you're doing is developing a culture of wild yeast from the air in flour and water, which will then grow by eating and creating leavening to make your bread rise. So you have a bunch of like nice air pockets in your bread. And in order to develop that starter, you need to feed it with, you discard a bunch of it and feed it every morning, or some people twice a day. And the goal is you collect all this wild yeast from the air. It smells really nice and sour, like a sour beer, like sourdough. And then it rises up, it falls, rises, falls every day. And then you make bread and it's gorgeous. But sometimes it smells terrible and you throw it away. And sometimes it doesn't rise at all. And you're freaked out that like, you know, is it the temperature? You don't know, because temperature, it's time, it's consistency of feeding. Am I mixing it right? Is the consistency right? And like, it's somewhere between science and witchcraft. I'm not really sure, like where, yeah. Everyone online has like totally different like ideas of why. Like they even talk about like the bacteria on your hands and the yeast, wild yeast on your hands as a baker go into the flavor of some like artisan loaves and things like that.
I mean, and this man, I mean, for those of you who are not familiar, I mean, he cooks. I don't cook at all. I can literally make macaroni and cheese out of a box and scrambled eggs, and that's about it.
God bless.
So he cooks every meal I eat, especially now in quarantine. And I feel like this is the first time that you've really had something in the kitchen that has like, you know, like stymied, like that you just like.
It's also frustrating because like it's so simple. It should just be like, it's literally 3 wild yeast from the air, flour and water, and you just let it sit there and it's supposed to work. And you just like, you can't do anything else.
But do you think part of it seeming so simple is the fact that like what I keep seeing, not having tried my hand at it at all, what I keep seeing is a bunch of successful work products, which is a bunch of these like Panera looking style loaves of bread with the perfect split with a bunch of like sprinkled flour on the top, and like that's what people are like putting up. Like anything else in life, like look at my successful bread, like not my failed days of weird stinkiness, but like look at this beautiful loaf of like Panera style bread that I made.
There's a blog post in the CSA, the like Casting Society of America. There's like a blog post dedicated to all the casting directors who've learned how to bake in quarantine because everyone's learning how to make bread.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like we're not home all the time, so like I can feed my sourdough starter at 10 a.m. every morning and watch it at noon and see what the change has been. And it's like it's a privilege of that time that we have. I cannot wait for the farmers market to open and to be able to go to Flour and buy bread again. Yeah, because like I don't know if it's gonna. Maybe I haven't named it. Maybe that's the trick.
Yeah.
So Deanna Reed Foster wants to know what you feed it. So what do you feed the starter?
Tears and dreams.
Dreams. Yeah. Totally. It's basically, it looks like pancake dough. You have this like weird smelly pancake batter in your kitchen, and you just discard like 80% of it or 50% of it, and then you put water and more flour back in there, and then the yeasts eat the flour. Yeah, it's literally flour and water. It should be so easy. So, but feeding it, you're feeding those yeasts that are growing in there.
So did you start your starter by yourself, or did you, because I know other people that have like, hey, does anybody want some of my starter? Its name is Jane. And I'm like, you know, like, and I don't understand what's happening when that happens. But so did you start your starter or did you inherit a starter?
So
yeah, this is starter number 2. The first one was false starter. It like did not go. It got thrown away. I was like, AJ, spell this. It's great. And I think she almost threw up.
I almost took this ring off. Like, I was like, this is going to be the end.
Yeah, so this is number 2. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I have a feeling like I'm going to go back to work the day that I'm able to like bake bread. I'm going to bake 1 loaf, and then I'm going to have to like go to the office the next day. It's going to die.
It'll be like the taste of victory, and then it's time to be done.
Totally.
Like
it will be
partially realized victory, like 1 batch of pancakes.
Totally fine bread. Not great, just fine. Like, we'll see.
So, are you a chef first, or are you a camera first, or like what came first? I mean, because they're both artistic expression.
Yeah, I mean, I've always really enjoyed cooking. Yeah, I mean, definitely have always worked in production. I've never worked in any kind of food industry or in the kitchen or anything like that. It's just been a hobby.
You were never even like a waiter or a
No, never. I've never
pizza
worked in a
boy
restaurant.
or something?
No.
You were a carny.
I did work for a company that did inflatable carnival rides in college.
So creepy. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, so like that's the kind of thing where you like stop off at someone's party with like a Jack and Jill jump or something like that, or what?
Bounce. I did that for 2 summers in college. Like hauled moon bounces around and set up like carnival row games at like school midways and stuff like that.
So weird.
Yeah.
How did you find that job?
Somebody I went to high school with, their dad owned a company called Fun Services, which is like so creepy.
So scary.
So creepy. And,
Well, it sounds like a cover company for something like very illicit. Like it's like they're funneling something other than fun.
Yeah. And like they would do school carnivals towards the end of the school year, which were just like a total scam. Like no matter what prize you won, it was always less than like the rental. Like you could literally give away all the prizes, and the rental was still way more money than anything in that game. Moon bounces and what else do they do? Oh, in the winter they do those like Christmas shops, like Santa shops at kids' schools and stuff like that.
We went on a tangent about your carny history.
His carny days.
That's okay.
Every second.
Yeah. So definitely carny first. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's always like there's something really fun about cooking that it's like a creative experience that you get to share with people.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's also like I'm a producer, if anybody doesn't know, by trade, and a lot of that is wrangling a lot of different departments and a lot of different people to like come together to try to focus that energy in one direction, to produce a film or a TV show or whatever it might be, commercial. And when I'm cooking, it's more like everything, the ingredients are here, the stove is there, there's nothing outside of this space, there's like a zen, I don't really need to interact with anybody else, like food's done, here you go. And so there's a nice like immediacy to it, I think, that is a nice break from my other jobs.
Yeah. Now, AJ, do you think that casting for you creative, or is it analytical? Like, are you like, this is a problem, solve it? Or are you like, this is an opportunity, let's be creative and figure it out that way?
I think if I had the same client over and over again, it would be purely analytical. But because my directors and the producers change and the network changes, it's sort of like this Rubik's. So I would say definitely both. It's definitely a mixture of both. I mean, there's certain clients that it's like I have a commercial director in town who like I know. It's funny. I couldn't tell you this for sure. I couldn't tell you this for like 1,000% positivity. I'm pretty sure this person has never booked an actor that they saw in the morning. I'm pretty sure they've always booked an actor that they saw in the afternoon because they need to like have eaten. And like, I don't think that this person eats breakfast. And and I've learned over the years, like if I put like chocolate M&Ms or like put like chocolate M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, like something in there for them to eat, that they'll like, I don't know, it helps the attention span about that person. And so I feel like there's always like, even if it's not necessarily a huge creative challenge, like who man number one's going to be, who's going to be your spokesperson about sunglasses, it's not that hard. Eating a piece of pizza sometimes is not, most of the time y'all do a great job. We see 48 of you and all 48 of you do a delightful job eating a piece of pizza and looking like it tastes good. It's hard to mess that up, to be honest, and the creative game for me in that scenario is in some cases like more about the client and like how to figure them out and what their process is than anything else. It could be that this director has come to directing out of being a DP and has been shooting food, and been working with food stylists really closely for the last decade, but doesn't know how to talk to Jim Bob in front of him about how to hold the burger, and so learning the client's always the fun part for me, I think. So I would say it's both, even when it's not like the biggest creative challenge in the material, I'd say it's both.
So how much of the psychology of humans have to go into running your sessions then, based on?
I don't know, but I don't have a psych degree, so I probably don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just sort of like willy-nilly, like, down. But there's a lot. We deal with human emotions and like how to read people. Our job is about, do I believe you? Or how can I believe you a little more? What do I need to believe in this moment? So there's a big part of, I think, psych. I probably would be a better casting director if I had a psych degree. I should go back to school. But I don't. I feel like I should know more about it that I don't.
But don't you think a lot of it though is like reading cues? Like, I mean, there's a certain amount of learning I'm sure you can do, but then there's a lot of it just like for actors, like being in this moment and paying attention, like the observation of if I put peanut M&Ms in the room with this person, this day is going to be better because I've observed something about like their nature. So how can I?
Also, just like investment. Nikki is the queen of talking about. It is always worth it to risk investment. It's a risk. We acknowledge that it's a risk to put your heart and your soul and your full spirit into something, but it is never not worth that risk. Yes, it hurts when you get rejected, but that's how you get stuff. You get stuff because you are fully invested in something. So no,
just not afraid to go all in.
Yeah, it's funny, like when we were doing, the ladies got an interview opportunity for HBO's new Project Station 11 that like Hiro Murai and Patrick Somerville's sort of the head writer, and Hiro Murai is directing and doing, all kinds of things, show running. Hiro, if for those of you who are unfamiliar, is like dream director for me. Directed a bunch of Atlanta. He also did the music video for This Is America.
Oh yeah.
And like an Asian director who's under the age of 40, like it's exciting for me. I'm quarter Chinese, so like working with someone Asian, working with someone younger, it doesn't happen that often in like a showrunner position. It's really exciting. And it's funny, I knew that the ladies had this opportunity to interview to be the casting directors on that show, but like I still made this like imaginary distance between them and Hiro. So when Mickey was like, would you like to come with us? I was like, yes, I would like to come with you. And I got in the cab with them, and Mickey's like, so when Hiro asks us, and I go, I'm sorry, he's gonna be there? And she's like, of course, why would he not be there? He's our boss. Like, that's the person we work for. And I'm like, oh, like, of course. But I tell the story because there's always this like desire to create this like imaginary distance, I think, between us and an opportunity, and make it up that it's like not real, or there's like 5 layers of people and things between us and them, and it's like not there. Sometimes it's not there, so you have to invest. Like it's your Beyonce moment,
Your Beyonce moment.
Because you don't know.
Every moment is a Beyonce moment. Now, you said that Mickey kind of like is the queen of that, of like taking that moment and making it that. Did you have that before her? Like,
No.
No.
I would say that I did. I'm certainly a loudmouth. I mean, like I'm like a loudmouth and a spitfire. I mean, like I was a young person and told my parents that I wanted to go to boarding school as an only child. Like, I've had chutzpah, but I don't know that I've always had like full real investment in like the work part. Even like being with PJ has been like illuminating about like, this is your full self. Like PJ wakes up and is producer. PJ goes to bed and is producer. Like phone rings, texts all through the day. Like it's a full commitment for PJ, I feel like, to sort of live in this world and work at the level that you do. And it's inspiring to me, but also a reality check that like it takes a real commitment.
So I want to ask, since we're talking about like producer PJ and like AJ in her realm, how does like work? Well, I mean, I want to go back to like the story of us kind of moment, but in the moment we're in, how does work and life intersect with you guys? Like where is work allowed, and then where do you shove it out and like just make PJ AJ space? Like what does that look like for you?
I mean, I think I'm getting looked at while I answer this. I hope
I'm listening.
Right.
No, I'm.
I feel like I'm doing like a couples therapy session right now or something with that question. That was like a loaded drop right there.
Like, I mean, where does our line go?
I think some of it is that, like, we both have a mutual respect for each other, professionally, and also a mutual understanding that like our jobs are not 9 to 5, and there are always going to be calls, or you know, I may have to step out from dinner, and I may have to step out from, you know, something that, and I think there definitely is an understanding between each other that like, I understand that that's work and that's not a value judgment you're making on your time with me. I respect and understand that that's important and you need to go do that. So yeah, I mean, I don't think there's there are definitely some times where we try to carve out and like, hey, this is important. Like we can't miss this for each other. But I mean, oftentimes we'll be out doing something and I'm outside on the phone, or AJ's, you know, doing the same thing, like, you know, talking to
or like I'll run into an actor and you're very good about not rushing me through a conversation with somebody, you know. It's a pretty even balance, I think. I mean, it's also helpful, I think, that we don't do the same thing. Mm-hmm. You know, I think it's helpful that PJ's not a casting director, that he's a producer, I'm a casting director. We work in the same business enough that we know enough of the same people to like enjoy each other's stories, you know, at the end of the day, and be like, oh my God, you know, I'm on this crazy job. You know, I can appreciate when he tells me about a job that has 3 days, I know what that means. Mm-hmm. And so for him as a partner, I think, I don't mean to speak for you, but like, I'll speak for myself. When you know that I'm under a deadline for an episode and they wrote 4 new characters in the new script and they shoot tomorrow, you understand and appreciate why that's a stressful day. And that makes for like a really great partnership in that also, though, you're not going to suggest to me how I should go about casting those 4 roles. Like I can't advise you on how to do your job better than you do it. But I can support and understand sort of what the circumstances are behind our jobs.
Yeah, I think when either of us gets a phone call at 8 or 9 o'clock at night, we're usually like, ooh, that's not a good thing usually.
Yeah. We also know each other's bosses well, and I think enjoy each other. I mean, it's a small community, and I mean, his company's 7 buildings down from PR, so like I know and see his boss a lot, and so it's a small family, I feel like, between all of us.
Yeah. So the answer is
so now I want to know, taking the family back to the beginning, what was the beginning of the AJ and PJ story? Like, what was that like?
When I talk about this, I would say, I could definitely.
Maybe I could make it simpler. How did you know you liked him?
We had a really great first date where we kind of got outrageously drunk and had like a great conversation for like 4 hours. But I really knew I was like, oh, who is this dude? What's this guy about? On our second date, he came to he like asked to be like, okay, I'll pick you up for dinner, which I thought was a really weird thing. I was like, you're gonna pick me up? Who picks somebody up?
We also work, again, 1 block from each other.
Okay, I know, but like, why wouldn't we just like meet at the restaurant? I don't know. Anyway, I thought it was like, you know, I was like, okay, he's gonna pick me up. Weird. And he like came to the building. I met him downstairs, and he was like, so like, where do you want to go? Like, I had a couple thoughts, and he like kind of soft pitches these 3 restaurant ideas, and I just kind of stopped him. I'm like, look, you're a foodie. I like food. Whatever. The first one sounds great. I don't know, the first one. And we got to the first one, and he got on his phone. And in fact, I was like, oh, good. This person has to work. Like, he'll understand when my phone rings. I was like, oh, this is a good sign. When in fact, he was not calling work. He was calling the other 2 restaurants to cancel reservations. He had made reservations at all 3. And I was like,
well played.
That's a playa.
This is also 100% producer doing, where it's like, okay, I need backups. I need the reco. I need backups.
So yeah, that was my first like, maybe I like this guy. Yeah, honestly, we connected through Tinder because we knew each other. I mean, you'd hired me to cast things. You've been working with PR way before I ever was there. But I saw you on Tinder, and I had this like policy that I would like anyone that I knew. Like if I knew you, which I knew like it was a lot of actors, and I'd like you, but then I'd write immediately, oh, how funny to like see you on this platform. This is awkward. Let's move on. Like sort of as a way of saying like, we're not going to go out, but then we went out.
How funny is that? So you kind of, the policy turned into the product then, right? Like the initiation turned into the conversation.
Correct. I failed.
You failed at your own mission. I love that.
I won. I should say I won. Yes.
Okay, well, so I should ask the reverse then of PJ. How did you know you liked AJ?
Yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like we had like that first day where we talked for so long. We just talked about like so many commonalities and like had, I don't know, a lot of fun and a mutual understanding of each other's jobs without like being in the same trenches all the time. I don't know. It was just like it was really easy to spend a lot of time and hang out and excited to see each other. And yeah, it was very easy to like have a busy job and still want to spend time with each other and not like, there was no stress, no anxiety when it came to making time for each other.
I love it.
And that's so important, especially right now where you're spending all of your time together. Like, do you all like have set things that you all do together? Like, do you do like go for walks together? Do you like we've gotten on a game kick now. Like we'll play games or we'll put together puzzles and stuff like that. What's you all's thing?
We played what's it called? Seven Wonders Duel or Duel. It's a version of Seven Wonders last night. So I would say we've fallen into somewhat of a schedule. It's also helpful. I mean, like he's still working. PR. We would love to work. We're here and available for anyone who would like our casting services, but nothing's shooting. So we're just sort of hanging out and waiting for stuff to come in. PJ's working, so that sort of makes for a more formalized schedule. So like I feel like at night we do dinner together, where we sit and we eat. You are typically cooking, and then sitting and like watching TV and stuff we'll do at night, every night. And then the weekends we try to like go outside.
Yeah.
Take walks when we can. We've been doing yoga together.
Yeah, we've been doing yoga together, which has been fun.
Yeah. And we're not a couple that works out together really. It's not really our thing. No. But this has made us do it together. And that's been fun. Yeah. I think it's been fun.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. We usually do breakfast together on Saturdays.
Yeah.
We'll do like a big breakfast Saturday or something.
Well, usually because we'll do like a brunch with family. I don't know. Charles, are you playing games with like other people or are you just playing with Carmen?
It's mainly I got a couple of live chess games that I'm playing, but like most of it is just like here. I've been trying to get Carmen to play Risk with me. She won't bite. So if you all like Risk, and you want to play.
I love
Risk. Risk is? Oh,
Risk is like, how long does Risk take? Like that's a commitment, no?
A lifetime and a half. Yeah. Yes. A college degree. Yeah. It lasts longer than
and there's all this geography involved. I mean, man, that's a heady undertaking.
Which one is worse? Monopoly or Risk? Which one would you rather enter into?
Oh,
Monopoly's worse.
Monopoly's the worst.
Monopoly's worse, but Charles, I was forced to play Risk Godstorm over the Christmas break.
What's that?
The level of Risk in this version.
Awesome. If you like Risk.
Wait, what is this? Godstorm. I don't know that.
It's a version of Risk that's set in the classical era, so it's like the Babylonians and the Greeks and the Romans. And you have the regular board, but you also have like Atlantis, and it's the boundaries of like maybe Eastern Asia and then Western Europe are the whole board. And you have these gods that you can summon to add to your armies, and there's like a whole like sideboard that's the underworld where your armies go when you die. Coming up super nerdy in this chapter.
I know, I'm loving it. Well, that's because you are super nerdy. You can't fight it. So now everyone knows.
Yeah. But it just like has a couple other elements to the game that you can bring your armies back. You can, it's like classic Risk with bonuses. It's a lot of fun. So it takes
that sounds also like an undertaking. Like I'm like get in, get out kind of games, like short attention span games. You know what I mean? Like, give me some Uno, like it's my turn, it's not my turn, it's a number, it matches the number, it matches the color, or it doesn't. Okay, like, that's easy. That's
Yeah.
there you go.
Our first game back in after quarantine was Speed. That was our first game. Have you ever played Speed?
Is that with the
Is
car
it-
where you have to?
Oh,
Yeah, Speed like the card game. Yeah.
Yeah.
essential summer game. Essential cool summer game. So
Yeah, I think we should have waited on using that one. That was like day 2, and then we got done. Carmen. So it's for those of you who may not have met Carmen, she is one of the most competitive people I've ever met in my life. And after getting my butt kicked about 3 times, I was like, okay, cool. This quarantine needs to go ahead and end because I cannot spend the rest of our lock-ins getting my butt kicked in Speed.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
I
Yeah, games are the great uniter and divider, right? As far as competitive, I think.
In concert with Speed and going with that idea, we want to throw some 20 questions at you all, okay? So the idea of 20 questions, it's not meant to be pondered on. It's not meant to be this great philosophical answer unless you can just roll it off that way. But these are just like fast and fun questions. So answer the first thing that comes up to your head, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna kick us off.
For anything that feels longer, do your best to try and do the Cliff's Notes version of your answer, like a sentence, like in a sentence, right?
Yeah.
Charles, and I should say, some of these questions have been submitted by people that are viewing in advance. Yes. So if you have submitted your question might be asked, and any week that you show up, this is always the case. So there are some questions in the hopper here. I'm ready to roll with any of those. So Charles, do you wanna start, or shall I?
Kick us off, Jess.
Okay. Question posed is, given that we don't have an audience to perform for these days, how are you staying creative without an audience?
Organizing readings, and I would also say trying to absorb entertainment that already exists, genuinely trying to watch films and TV.
I generally try to avoid an audience for myself. Cooking, probably. Cooking, I'd say.
Cool. Well, with that idea of cooking, breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Breakfast. 100%. Love breakfast.
Okay. Add on. What's the thing? What's the breakfast thing?
God, there's so many. So I have a breakfast that I love, which is called, I want someone to invent a breakfast flight that is a small Bloody Mary, a small mimosa, a small coffee, and like a soda water. So that you can go to brunch and get that for like $10 instead of ordering each one individually and spending like $25. That's my task.
That sounds like a good idea.
What do you eat? That's all juice.
Oh, it's all about, there's so many things. Breakfast tacos, biscuits and gravy, Benedict's. Like, that's the thing about breakfast. It's like...
It's everything.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm a tough tie between the perfect bagel and cream cheese, which is my ever-loving favorite food, or like a good French toast with like some eggs and some veggies or something. Like that sounds
I'll say 100% savory over sweet every time.
Yes. Yes, I'm Camp Savory on breakfast for sure. I'm with you there. All right, I got a question. What one thing would you most want to save if your place caught on fire, assuming that any people or animals made it out safely already?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would save our bed. I spent a lot of money on that mattress, and it's a great mattress. I would save that mattress. I would know.
I like the image of you, like the house is on fire, and you've got this like mattress that you're like hoofing out the stairs, like on an angle, trying to like get that sharp turn or whatever, like with a giant mattress.
Like pivot. Like I'd just be freaking.
Clear the corner.
But she's so big, Jess.
Oh my gosh, yeah. We have an interloper. This is
Hi,
Jolie.
Jolie.
Hey Joe, you want to say hi? She's like, yeah, no. So I think she's going to take residence right here as we pepper you, as we interrogate you. PJ, what would you save?
I don't know. I don't know if I have any. I guess books, which would also be a heavy thing to lug out.
Which book? What's like the first book and only like if you only got one book?
One book.
I don't know. What if you only got one book?
Man, that's hard.
The Little Prince. That's my vote. The Little Prince.
I don't know. There's this kid's
Like,
book that I've been able to find again that my mom gave me our only copy called Drummer Hoff Fired It Off. I think I would probably take that out because I've never been able to find it online. Yeah.
and that's like a book of your childhood?
Yeah. I don't think I would have said that if you had asked me that yesterday. I don't know why. I just thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the puppies. I'll grab one of them in a second. They're waking up. I am going to ask on the count of 3. Let me know the honeymoon. I don't know if you all have like decided it or not, but no. Dream honeymoon's location. 1, 2, 3.
Thailand.
Wait, did you both just say it?
Yes, we both said Thailand.
I think it was just decided, right?
Yes, that's easy. Done. Check.
Look at that. Uh-oh.
Oh, you know, that sweet quarantine life, y'all.
I feel
That
you.
those are the cries of mommy, which was to be expected.
I get it.
You know, sometimes I want to cry for mommy. Okay, my next question for you is, what do you think is the funniest word in the English language?
Oh, it's such a I'm gonna go with my gut and say frog.
Frog.
I think frog is a weird word. Frog.
I don't know. Can't think of it. Man, I'm choking right now. Choking.
Purple. These are words, if you repeat, they become meaningless. Totally.
Yeah, I mean immediately.
Route is mine.
Wait, what's yours, Charles?
Route.
Route. Yeah.
Oh, it's so weird. It's so weird.
My son just had the word gobbledygook, I believe, on a vocab test. Gobbledygook. Which
Yeah,
I'm like,
that wins.
I don't know how old I was when I learned that was a word, but it sure wasn't in grade school. Gobbledygook.
Yeah, I don't know.
There you go.
Roustabout? Roustabout's a silly word.
Roustabout.
Yeah. Roustabout.
That is an official funny word, man.
Susan
Farlick just said nincompoop.
Yes, nincompoop for sure. Amen to that.
Nincompoop. Okay, Charles, you're up.
Here you go. Favorite film?
Cinema Paradiso.
Ooh, it's so hard. Drop Dead Gorgeous.
Dano loves Cinema Paradiso. Dano Duran says, yay to you, PJ. Simpatico. Okay, my question from the audience, how can an actor, for PJ, how can an actor transition into production? Where would someone begin with that? How do you put that into a sentence? I'm not sure, but the challenge is yours. What would be your first suggestion?
I mean, I guess I would say like, the best way to learn in any job is to work on indie, work on short films, learn, first of all, if you want to really do production, see if it's right for you. And the best way to do that is to kind of work on indies. The biggest thing you can do in that field is network. And that's a great way to meet a ton of people who are also trying to break in. It's a long run-on sentence.
It was sentence-like in nature. I like it. I'll accept it. I'll accept it.
PJ, you said that you were a foodie a little bit earlier, or I think AJ said that of you. What's the first restaurant you all are going to when all of this is lifted and it's safe to go back to dining out?
What are you going to say?
Yeah. The first restaurant.
I got
And this is
mine.
for both of you. Yeah.
I'd say Gather, which is kind of just like
That's up by me, right? That's like Lincoln Square.
Yeah, it's like my gold standard favorite go-to. It's not like going to a Linea. It's not like a crazy bank, breaker. And the food is outrageously good and consistently good. And it's like comfort food. A lot of it's like very comforting. And we've had a lot of great date nights there. So I'd say Gather.
I really also want to go to like Osteria Link.
Yeah.
And eat some like Italian and drink some good wine.
Yeah.
We also spend a lot of time. Italy is kind of our place downtown too.
Yeah,
like,
it's like close to our office.
Yeah, that's like we both work late on a Friday or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is just amazing, though. Like,
oh yeah,
it's great.
It's the best.
Charles, I lose him in there though because we'll eat there and then I lose him for like an hour shopping and like I can't find him and it's just yeah.
We have like 2 drinks and then I'm like, I need this $14 cheese, right?
Correct.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
get this.
Well, I will ask Shireen's question because I know the answer to it, and we talked about this for a moment before we went live. The question is, what's on your shirt?
Oh, this is a Fly Honey Show shirt.
Yes, Fly Honeys. For those folks that have not seen Fly Honey Show, go look that up because that is an education you deserve to give yourself. And I when I saw PJ's shirt, I wished I was wearing mine. But AJ and I have also commiserated over the fact that we've done the live streams of their dance classes, which is a minor education of how your body does or does not work, depending on who you are. So all my love for the Fly Honeys. That's what I have to say.
I very much do not go see things twice because I try, obviously, to spend my time going to see as much, different things happening in Chicago as I can. I see the Fly Honey Show easily twice a summer, every summer, without question. And I always try to bring a new person who has never seen it to the show. It's a great show. It's super
well, and it's
empowering.
hard to explain unless you've experienced it because it's a celebration. Like it is a celebration of human bodies for one thing, among many other things, but just like and self-love and affirmation and like goodness and like it's like a celebratory party that it's hard to explain unless you've done that thing. So I was very happy to see the shirt at the top of this call. It was like it was a beacon right there, that shirt. So there you go.
Represent. Let's see, we got another question. Is PJ, is that your quarantine beard?
This is I always have a beard, but this is my quarantine beard. Yes, it's much longer than.
Are you gonna show off your?
It gets really out of control when you push it out there.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
It's the third person in our relationship.
I just got my husband to take his down, but it was like getting like when in profile, there's like inches added to the general profile. You're like having a third person entering the relationship at that point. So yeah. So how much length do you have on that, PJ? What's the distance from chin to air?
I don't know.
Solid.
Yeah.
Oh, that leads to my next question. Have either of you tried quarantine haircuts?
Not yet,
That's
but
why
our
I'm wearing
friends
a hat.
have. I'm ready. I'm ready. I don't know why I haven't been asked. I actually am kind of offended that I've not been put in yet, but I feel very much ready to get at it, I will say. Our friends, Ben and Amanda, did it, and they were very successful.
Yeah.
And I feel like with my, enjoyment of spas and salon experiences, I could really chia pet you up, Mm-hmm. I think I can make some magic.
If you guys want to create another live stream where we just watch PJ get a haircut, we see how it turns out. We can put that into our programming offering too.
Love it. So
you just set up one steady cam shot and we'll just, watch the progression from behind from AJ's point of view. PJ can't watch. It's not in front of a mirror. He just gets to see what happens, Yeah. I think people would tune in for that. This is the kind of programming that we need during this pandemic.
Right.
I'm happy to provide it for you.
Great. We'll talk about this afterwards. We'll create content for the people. Charles?
I got one last question for you all, and then we will get on our ways. The majority of the folks I think watching this are actors who, PJ, you're still working, but AJ, like you said, PR is not working right now. So like, what would be you all's advice for creating habits to like come out on the other side with? If that makes sense, right? Because we got all this downtime, and as actors, we're constantly going. We're constantly like responding to this new audition, this next audition, or this, we're getting ready for this next play. We're getting ready for this next project, and we don't have a lot of time to reset. But like, how are you spending your time to reset, and how do you what would be your recommendations on building a good habit to move forward out of this pandemic?
That's a really good question. I would say in general, even before the quarantine, my advice to actors was always to have a creative habit, meaning that like, if it's not every day, that at least like 3 times a week, you're looking over a scene, or you're doing something, like you're really investing in a piece of material, so that when you get an audition, it doesn't feel like, while I want the stakes to be high, because I want you to be like, this is my Beyonce moment, and while the stakes are high, yes, I can also do it. I also want you to not feel like, oh my God, it's the first time I'm able to be an actor in 2 months because I've been waiting tables and I haven't done anything. So I always encourage a creative practice. What that is can be variant, but I think, reading scenes, working on plays, if you're asking a friend, like, hey, what old sides do you have? Can I use those? And like, don't care about gender and type and all of, that's just a bunch of BS. Like, just, work on material and work on a human story. At the same time, I don't think that needs to be every day. And I think the biggest common denominator between actors who book are actors who come into the room energized, focused, and believing that they can do it. And the way to do that is be well fed and slept and rested and like taking care of yourself. So I would say also like listening to your body. I've been able to like, I don't know, listen to like my own hunger a little better in quarantine and be like, oh, I'm full. I don't need to eat anymore. Like, I'm good. Or like, I want to go out and walk around the block, really trying to listen to yourself, I think, so that when we come out of it and you need to take a break, that you can do that. I think that's healthy. I don't know if that answers your question, but I think
it definitely does. And I just want to give PJ, I want to give you an opportunity to jump in and say something for content creators, right? Because, your work is stopped right now in that sense, right? Where we can't get on set and shoot something. What would you say for content creators and habits and things that they should be building and focusing on during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I think to kind of echo the second part of what AJ was saying, like before I started working at Capcom, I was a freelancer, and I would do mostly film and television, and I would work on jobs for 8-9 months with 60 to 80-hour work weeks, and then be down for like 4 months and not know when my next job was coming in. And that to me was a lot. It's not the same, but it shares a lot of elements with when your work just stops dead and what you be doing. And yeah, I think listening to yourself, trying to find one thing you're going to do that day, and kind of holding yourself. And it could be something small, like, I'm going to clean the bathroom today, but like holding yourself to that activity to give yourself a goal for that day and maintaining that goal. And then, yeah, like trying to develop some like healthy stress relief and anxiety relief. Exercise, if that's your thing. If not, reading, whatever it is. Cooking is one for me.
Are there like writing exercises or things you feel like people that are
I think watching
making
stuff.
their own shows?
I think watching things critically, watching things that you wouldn't normally want to watch, kind of making yourself like check out a new platform or a show that somebody's always told you about, but definitely watching it critically, not necessarily for enjoyment, and taking that time at the end of it to kind of think about like why certain choices were made in that show, and doing a little bit of analysis on what those creators were doing, what they were trying to say with that episode. And yeah, do active watching, active listening, that kind of thing.
Great. You all have been absolutely amazing. I don't know if you're going to make another Negroni.
I'm empty. I need another.
Thank you for joining us. Even though you don't have anything, still raise a glass. Cheers to you all and you all's happiness during this quarantine. And I cannot wait to see you all back in the real life.
And here's to planning the Thailand honeymoon. How about that?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, you guys.
Cheers, y'all. See you and see everybody else next time.
Everybody will be back again next week, Wednesday, 5 o'clock Central for Cocktails and Conversation next week. It's looking like we have the Q Brothers Collective on deck with us. So if you want to talk to them and hear about their new album, Buggin', AJ's going to be there, obviously. She's excited. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Because who doesn't love those guys, right? So tune in next week if you want to hang with the Q Gents. But I'm Jess. This is Charles. We're here with AJ and PJ. We thank you for joining us. And cheers, y'all. Have a good night.
Cheers.
Peace.